let's be honest, Xperia phones, especially the 1 series, were never for everyone. Special customers like Sony fans, those who had a Sony camera or manual camera setting were important to them, were interested in Xperia 1. Well, let me spoil it, it's still the same. But the same special customers can now choose it more easily. This is Sony Xperia 1 Mark 6 review, so let's do it though. The design of Xperia is boring for some, but it really has a professional, minimal, and extremely comfortable design. The first time you hold it in your hand, the material of the back panel is strange. It feels like super compact and hard plastic with a very grippy texture. But the fact is, this is Gorilla Glass Victus and that's why it's hard. The middle frame is made of aluminum and has the same grippy and textured design. In general, the phone is light, not too big, and has a durable, premium, and comfortable feel. Its water resistance is higher than others, IP68/IP65, which means it is also resistant to high pressure water. The front panel has edges on the top and the bottom, but there is no notch or punch hole. It may be attractive to you, it may not be, but when you use it as your camera monitor, you will understand that it is necessary for this phone. But to be honest, you will feel it more than the previous generation, due to the change of the aspect ratio from 21:9 to 19.5:9. Contrary to aspect ratio, there is still a headphone jack with support for different sound standards and an SD card slot, which is not available in any other flagships now. Also, it has Wi-Fi 7 and its Bluetooth version is 5.4 and supports all aptX and LE audio standards, and gives the perfect audio experience. The display is a part that is less special now, and to be honest, it has improved in my opinion. Yes, it is not 4K anymore, and it is Full HD. But when it has a density of 396 ppi, it is not supposed to be felt. Also, it is still 10-bit and supports the Rec 2020 space, which is completely unrivaled in color accuracy. Now, in addition to 120Hz, the display is also dynamic and can be changed up to 1 Hz. Of course, it decreases to 15 Hz during use. In general, color accuracy, black depth, viewing angle, and everything is excellent. The brightness of the display goes up to 1300 nits. It's definitely not competitive, but it's much better than the previous generation, and you can't really say it's annoying. Xperia 1 VI hardware specs are clear: a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 with 12GB of RAM and UFS 4.0 memory. Like any other flagship, it performs any heavy work, games, and editing very smoothly. I just don't know why every year Sony says that the cooling system has improved, but it still gets hot. The performance drop is not so much that you have to drop the phone, but it is annoying. Sony's gaming tricks is also in this phone, but is not a big advantage at the moment. Xperia 1 Mark 6 comes with Android 14 and has software support for up to 3 years. The good news is that it's supported for 1 year more than the previous generation. And the bad news is that it's 4 years less than the competitors. The feeling of the UI itself is the same as working with a stock Android, which Sony has customized a little. For example, the notification bar is different and you can run 2 apps at the top and bottom of the screen at the same time. Sony says that we combined AI with the camera, which all companies do these days. But in the UI itself, you don't see anything like the AI found in Galaxy, Pixel, or iPhone. The battery of this generation has really improved, probably because of the new screen. The 5000 mAh battery is like the others, but it lasts up to 1.5 days easily in semi-heavy usage, and is easily better than other flagships. But there is no charger or cable in the box. The charger it supports is 30 watts, and it takes about 1.5 hours to fully charge. The sensor of the cameras is no different from last year, but it doesn't mean that the camera has not improved. Also, the optical zoom is now from 3.5 to 7.1 times, and all the zooms in between are optical, due to the mechanical movement of the lenses inside. Now, the ultra-wide lens and periscope both have the ability to record macro. That's awesome. 3 camera apps are now merged, and if you want my opinion, Sony made the best camera app. You can easily take a good photo with one click, and if you want, it has every manual function you can think of. Let's go for the photos. The photos of the wide lens are excellent. Wide dynamic range, extremely good detail, enough sharpness and accurate colors. Sometimes the highlights are a bit too bright, which can be forgiven. Contrary to expectations, the 48 megapixel photos are also excellent. Of course, in daylight. Details are significantly increased, and noise and sharpness are not annoying. I really like the photos of this phone at night. The colors are accurate, the dynamic range is wide, and the detail is as it should be. And the photos are extremely natural. Ultra-wide photos are also good. Low noise, colors close to wide lens, and wide dynamic range. Distortion is also well controlled. The photos of the telephoto lens have colors close to other lenses, the dynamic range is a little narrower, the detail is very good, and the noise is not too much in the daylight. But as you go from 3.5 to 7.1 times, the detail becomes less. The feeling of the photo is still completely optical, but it seems that the focus is a little less. If you want a macro photo, definitely record it with the telephoto lens, because you will get closer to the subject, you will have better light, and the masterpieces you see will be achieved. It seems that this camera system cannot be faulted. The selfie camera is the same. The dynamic range is wide, the detail is very good, and the photos are close to reality, unlike some others. In general, unlike previous generations, Sony has worked more on photo processing, and is no longer only for professionals. Even now, professionals will be happy, because quick camera use is one of the goals of camera phones. In terms of video recording, the main lens has 5-axis stabilization and can record 4K 60 FPS. It also performs well, but in terms of dynamic range, detail, and final output, in non-manual mode, the iPhone is still superior. At the end, Xperia still keeps its professional customers completely satisfied, and even more so, because they can now buy Xperia 1 Mark VI without fear of losing the features of a normal flagship. Expect for 7 years of update and AI. Even this year, unlike previous years, I can absolutely say that for normal users, if they like the personality of Xperias, it is a really good phone. The price is not the same as announced. Usually, the price of Xperias drops by $200 1 month after release, and now it is almost the same price as other flagships. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like it, and if you like my content, subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you next video.